the role of determination, the role of enthusiasm, and the role of patience. So these things we discussed yesterday. We'll go to verse number 26. Please recite.
यतो 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 निश्चलति यतो यतो निश्चलति
यतो यतो निश्चलति
मनश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरम्
मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरम्
ततस्ततो नियमेन नियमतत्
ततस्ततो नियम्यैतत्
आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत्
आत्मन्नेव वशं नयेत्.
Translation. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of self. But the nature of mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind, therefore the senses as well, is called Goswami or Swami. And one who is controlled by mind is called Godas, or the servant of senses. The Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesha, of the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest progression of yoga practice.
Yeah. So this actual essence of spiritual life is, basically absorption. Samadhi means what? Samadhi means absorption in Supreme. And that Samadhi stage is the goal for all the particular yoga. But absorption means absorption of what? Absorption of mind, basically. Mind is absorbed in all other faculties also will be absorbed. So that's why this mind plays a very, very big role in our practice of spiritual life. But we see that often the mind is very flickering, isn't it? It's chanchalam. So that's why this particular verse, it is mentioning about the success formula for yoga. What is success formula for yoga? That is to bring mind back. So actually the mind, which is in mode of goodness, is fixed. The mind in mode of passion is flickering. The mind in mode of ignorance is dull. So all these aspects actually, unless and until a yogi, he brings his mind to the mode of goodness, it is not possible to make further progress in yoga. So that's why it is essential that we have to bring our mind back again and again from wherever it wanders. Any one of you face ever the problem of mind wandering? Oh, I thought only I face. So mind keeps on wandering, right? So when we see that our mind is wandering, what we have to understand? Yeah, there is an influence of mode of passion. And we see if the mind is dull, means there is an influence of mode of ignorance. So what is the solution then? The solution is that the mind has to be cleansed. And that cleansing of mind can happen when it is focused on the spiritual subjects. Whether it may be holy name or Krishna Katha or Krishna Rupa, form of the Lord, or Seva of the Lord, thought of the Lord. When the mind is focused on these things, then it slowly it will be purified, and then it will come to the mode of goodness. But it is not that uh, it will remain steady on that state. Means it will go again. And again we have to bring it back. And it will go again. And again we have to bring it back. It is not that once we bring it back, it remains. It will go again. During chanting, we have solid experience of it, right? It goes again, we have to bring it back. So it's like mind is compared by various, that's why, our Vaishnava literature also, mind is given a lot of, importance. So there, our acharyas compare mind sometimes to child, naughty child. So the naughty child always job is to play. It will do some mischief or other, isn't it? So the mother has to, hold the ear of the child and bring him back. The child always wants to play. He never wants to study. But the mother has to always keep a check on the child. If the child is allowed to do unrestricted activities, he will simply harm himself, isn't it? So that's why mother has to control. Similarly, mind is compared to monkey, child of monkey. You see, sometimes you see that in Vrindavan monkeys are there. So many monkeys. You cannot escape monkeys in Vrindavan, right? They're always visible. So you see that sometimes this baby monkey is there. And what it will do? It will go, leave mother and go somewhere. And mother, what she has to do? She just pulls the tail. She brings the baby back. And for 1-2 minutes, the baby may sit. After again, it will go. And again, mother has to do. So practically, whole day, mother has to keep on doing that job. Of course, in between, she gives one laugh also to baby, so that he'll keep quiet. So same way, we have to deal with mind also. It will go, and we have to bring it back. It will go, and we have to bring it back. And sometimes we have to scold also our mind. What nonsense are you doing, foolish mind? So this is a very, very important formula, especially during chanting. Sometimes we see that our mind goes, even we don't realize. By the time we realize that mind has gone somewhere else and I'm not chanting actually, by that time 2-3 rounds are over. Sometimes. Yeah, Holinam goes in background. It's like a background music going on something. You're doing something else. But Mahatma Prabhu recently, what he gave class, he was telling that if your mind is wandering somewhere else, then you are not actually chanting. So it is not called as chanting. Maybe some entertainment, it is spiritual entertainment. So it is very, very essential that one has to chant attentively. And for chanting attentively, this is very essential. What is that? Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato niyametat atmaneva vashanayet. Wherever the mind wanders, it is due to its flickering and unsteady nature. First must certainly withdraw it and bring it back again the control of the self. That exercise a person has to keep doing. So these are the 3 adjectives are given by Krishna to mind. Nischalati means it is wandering, chanchalam flickering, and asthiram unsteady. So how does one bring the mind back? By use of intelligence. So we have to do preaching to the mind also. Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Bhaya Charanara Vindare. Or what else? Which one? Durlabha, no, not that. Dushtamana Tomi Kisera Vaishnav Pratisthara Tare Nitjane Ragare Tava Harinam Ore man bhalo nahi lage sansar Keno Hare Krishna Naam Hari Bole Mano Pran Kamdena. So many songs are there about mind. In fact, there is an entire series called as Manashiksha. In Marathi also, there is Manache Shlok. So it's teaching to mind. So we have to become counselor for the mind. We try to become counselor for others' mind, but first we have to become counselor for our own mind. So this is very important. So that is the job of intelligence. So with the help of intelligence, the yogi, he should overcome all mental tendencies, because we have to know that intelligence is superior to mind. So when our mind has wandered, we have to tell mind with the use of intelligence. We have to tell, hey, what are you doing? This is the period for time for chanting. But what about that seva? Oh, okay, it is not to be done immediately, right? Yeah, then we'll see that time. Let us chant now. You know. And what about office work? You know, hey, we'll do it later. Office work also. Why you want to do now only? This is not the time for office work, right? And but that devotee spoke me like this. Okay, I'll handle it later on. Like that, we have to keep on telling the mind all the time with the use of intelligence, and then in this way we have to try our best to keep the mind on the holy names. And we'll see that when we do that endeavors, when we do that efforts, what will happen? Eventually the mind will be uplifted to the mode of goodness, and then it will learn to remain steady on the holy name. And in this way our heart will become totally purified, and we can even experience the love of God also eventually by that. But if we don't do this, then as we know that inattentive chanting is the mother of all the offenses. Major reason of offenses is because of inattentive chanting. And when we do attentive chanting, all offenses are eradicated, isn't it? So that's why it is very important that with the use of intelligence, we should overcome all these mental tendencies. And also, we should not unnecessarily pamper our mind and indulge into the senses. It is said, spare the rod and spoil the child. English saying is that. Of course, nowadays in West, they don't follow it. Means if you pamper your child too much, lalayet bhavo dosha, tadayet bhavo guna. Chanakya Pandit also says the same thing. If you pamper the child, he'll develop a lot of bad qualities. If you always chastise him, he'll develop all good qualities. So nowadays, what people are doing? Pampering. And that's why we see that boys have got a lot of bad qualities. Girls also. But tadaye bhavo guna. अतः पुत्रस्य शिष्यस्य ताड़येत न तो लालयेत. चाणक्य में इसलिए पुत्र और शिष्य को क्या करना चाहिए? हमेशा डांटना चाहिए. उसको कभी ग्लोरीफाई नहीं करना चाहिए, उसको कभी ज्यादा पैम्पर नहीं करना चाहिए. So mind is also like child, isn't it? We just now described. So one should not unnecessarily pamper the mind. What do you mean by pampering the mind?
Whatever is telling.
जो भी उसके डिमांड है फुलफिल नहीं करना चाहिए हर बार. Just like a wise parents, they don't fulfill the demands, all the demands of their child. Child may say, I want a sharp razor, I want to catch razor. Will father ever fulfill it? Even though the child may do tamasha, father will give 2-3 लाफा देंगे, father चुप बैठो, नहीं मिलेगा वो blade. Child may say, my father is so cruel, he's not giving me that razor. Father is he cruel? He is merciful. वो पकड़ेगा तो बेचारा ही हो जाएगा, उसका हाथ कट जाएगा, है कि नहीं? That is mercy of the child. Similarly, the mind may cry, what is this? This fellow is not giving me, I want this, I want that, and I want to do like this, whatever I desire. It's not giving me, so mind may cry like this. But one should not pamper unnecessarily. Of course, those demands of the mind which may be favorable to Krishna consciousness, that can be fulfilled. Like mind may say, बहुत दिन हो गए इंद्र प्रभु का कीर्तन नहीं सुना, चलो सुनते. Yeah, very wonderful demand. Fulfill it, no problem. Or I want to look at the photo of the Lord. Oh, it's a very good demand. Fulfill that. बहुत दिनों से राधा श्याम सुंदर का दर्शन नहीं लिया वृंदावन, चलो दर्शन. Fulfill that. That's a very good. It's a good child. So you have to always remember, mind is like a child. So he's good child sometimes. So you fulfill it. So we see exactly the parents, they do like that only. The child, they will not all the time keep on beating. If you all the time keep on beating the child, then also child will get spoiled. Then you will develop hatred towards the parents. And if you too much pamper the child, then he'll get spoiled. So that's why one has to have proper maturity, that reasonable demands of the child should be fulfilled. Unreasonable demands should not be fulfilled. Same way, reasonable demands of the mind should be fulfilled. Unreasonable demands should not be fulfilled. This way, if you all the time say no only to mind, one day mind will say, hell with you now. I am not going to listen anything you say. And mind will take over then fully. So we cannot always all the time simply keep on beating the mind. So we have to also give some pleasurable thing for the mind, which is within the circle of Krishna consciousness. And sometimes the mind may be very disturbed. What do you do when your mind is very disturbed? It's not at all ready to cooperate. What do you do? Okay, loudly chant. Is it pleasurable for your mind? Oh, so that way it is beating only once. It's okay. That is good way. Sometimes beating the mind like loudly chanting or something. Or
chanting is there.
No, any other.
So engage in
favorite activities of spiritual life. थोड़ा mind को भी थोड़ा पैसिव है. Generally I read pastimes. थोड़ा अच्छा लगता है pastimes सुनेंगे तो read some pastimes, hear some Gaur Leela, Chaitanya Leela. It's so pleasing to even to mind also. Or my favorite is Indradyumna Maharaj's diaries. Wow, तुरंत माइंड शांत हो जाता है इंद्रद्युम्न महाराज का डायरी पढ़ने से. दे आर सो इंस्पायरिंग. क्या ऐसा ऐसे पास्ट टाइम से सारे. So something like this we have to give some good food, and also, but at other times we have to discipline also, not only simply keep on supplying good food. We have to discipline also. So that's the way. But it's a very important aspect that the yogi has to bring his mind back and again back on the spiritual subject, that is holy names or Krishna Katha, like that. So during Mangalarti also our mind may wander a lot, but we have to chant with attention, with meaning, keeping meaning in mind. So first that we should know the meaning of, then only we'll keep it in mind, otherwise how will do. Similarly, while worshipping deities, we have to focus on the Lord. The mind may wander here and there, but still we have to focus on the different limbs of the Lord. Similarly, chanting the holy names, our focus should be on hearing the holy names of the Lord. Similarly, while serving, we should focus on services properly, doing it very perfectly, properly, quality service rendering. So all these things should be done. So yogi has to know for certain that if one yields to the mind, it will destroy his tranquility. That's why the yogi should be fixed in self, not in his thoughts. He should be fixed in self means supreme Lord, not in the thoughts. Because these thoughts are arising from previous passionate conditionings. These thoughts are not something glorious, but they are coming from the previous passionate conditionings. So that's the way yogi has to deal. So that's how this verse is describing about the nature of mind and how this mind is flickering and unsteady, and it will fly away in the beginning, but one should not give up hope also. One should always be hopeful. One should not think that अरे इतने सालों से जपा कर रहा हूँ, प्रभुपाद ने एक छोटा चीज बोला वो भी नहीं होता मेरे से. प्रभुपाद ने क्या बोला? Just chant and hear, right? But वो भी नहीं होता है. What is this? We should not become hopeless. We should continue doing it. We have to understand that it is because of the influence of moda passion. यानी अभी तक passion अंदर बहुत है. तो but don't become hopeless. We have to continue that exercise, maybe for decades together. So when Prabhupada was asked that Prabhupada, how you can chant so nicely? So do you know what Prabhupada gave answer? Who knows what was the answer of Prabhupada? How you are able to chant so nicely? Prabhupada gave a very down-to-earth answer. He did not say I am a Paramhamsa, or I have been chanting since my childhood, or I am coming from spiritual world, so that's why I am able to chant. Okay, that also sometime Prabhupada said.
Perseverance.
Prabhupada said 30 years of practice. Very down to earth. Of course, it was his humility. It is not that by practice he started, he could chant nicely. He was chanting nicely from beginning itself, but for a sadhaka, for instruction, he gave that 30 years of practice. So we have to know that it takes some time. Passion will not immediately go away. It will not be subdued immediately. So it will take some time to bring the mind in goodness. How many of you are practicing since 30 years, Prabhu? You are not even 30 years old also. I am 30 plus, but I am not chanting since 30 years. So that means that we have to be patient also. We should not become hopeless. So we have to bring the mind again and again back. So, and we should control the mind. Prabhupada is writing in the purport, one should control the mind, not that allow the mind to control. The child should not control the parent. Parent should control the child. It should not happen that opposite. Child is controlling the parent. Because yesterday also we discussed, because child is foolish. He doesn't know what is good and what is bad. So one who controls his mind is called as Goswami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called as Godas. Correct. So Prabhupada is saying that Goswami means he knows the standard of sense happiness. The standard of sense happiness is perceived by the mind is also as flickering as mind. Just like the mind is flickering, the happiness perceived by the mind is also flickering. It doesn't remain. Same thing which we like at one point of time, we don't like another point. Right? Same thing. So what is the business of mind? Sankalpa, vikalpa. Always accepting, rejecting, accepting, rejecting. Isn't it? Mind is never, fixed in one thing. So in this way, the happiness which we derive from the mind is also flickering like that. So that's why Prabhupada is telling that the senses should be, transcendental sense happiness should be sought after. What is that transcendental sense happiness? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. And this is the definition of Krishna consciousness. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Bhakti means engaging the senses, into service of the Lord, purified senses into the service of the Lord. And that is the way of bringing senses under full control. So now, this verse Krishna is describing using three adjectives to describe the mind. That is Nischalati, wandering, Chanchalam, flickering, Asthiram, steady. The steady intelligence, but by steady intelligence, yogi must overcome all these mental tendencies. So he should not indulge his mind and gratify senses. He must know that this kind of yielding to the mind will destroy his tranquility. So now the next verse is describing that what is that steady stage. So when the yogi will continue bringing back the mind in this way for a long time, then he will experience the bliss of samadhi. So he will experience that bliss of samadhi and will come to the state of Brahma Bhuta. He will realize Atma and Paramatma. Means just by doing this exercise, of bringing the mind back and focusing on the holy names, that can make us to the stage of realizing Atma and Paramatma. So one exercise only. One may say sometimes so many things are there in spiritual life. How can we do so many things? Itna sara cheezein kyun karna padta hai? No, it is only one thing. What is that one thing? Attentively do spiritual activity. Bas. Wherever your mind wanders, bring it back and be attentive in spiritual practices. Everything else will fall in place. That attention, attentively doing spiritual activity is one thing which is like, which will accomplish all other things. How to develop all good qualities? This is the solution. We see Gopal Krishna Maharaj, that's why he always answers this only. This is his standard answer for all questions. Dhyan purvak jab karo. हर एक चीज का उनका वही आंसर है, because that is the solution for all the things. How do we develop good qualities? You chant attentively, practice spiritual life attentively, do sadhana attentively. Then how do we progress in spiritual life? Same answer. Attentively doing these things. That's it. So that's the point. Okay, next verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am audible?
Yes.
Prashanta mansam he enam
Prashanta manasam henam
yoginam sukham uttamam
yoginam sukham uttamam
योगिनां
Upaiti
सुखमुत्तमम्
Upaiti shanta rajasam
Upaiti shanta rajasam
उपेति शान्तरजसं
Brahma bhutam akalmasam.
bhuta akalmasham.
ब्रह्मभूतकल्मषम्.
The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Brahma Bhuta is the state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labte Param, Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savaya Mana Krishna Padaravindo. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in the Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination.
Yeah. So this yogi, the happiness to yogi is not only after perfection. It comes even before perfection. Hmm. How it comes? One becomes free from passion and ignorance. Hmm. One experiences transcendental happiness. One becomes free from sinful reactions, and one reveals one's qualitative equality with the soul, super soul. Hmm. So, you know,
Just before we were discussing that Ashtanga Yogi, he will his goal is like in Bhakti Yoga, like whatever we do, it is not vanquished. And he will experience pleasure in each and every step. That's why we are continuing. But for Ashtanga, we have discussed that he will attain happiness means when he reaches perfection.
yeah, because this is like yoga rudha stage almost. Dhyana, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. That's
But here what you are
perfection is suppose you consider as samadhi, but even at dharana, dhyana samadhi stage, one can start experiencing some bliss. So before perfection may not be exactly at the stage of beginning. It is at least still just before perfection, some stages he may attain something. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi, these stages also. Yoga rudha stage. Whereas for bhakti, it is from right from the start itself. There is a pleasure like that. So, yeah. So in this way, the yogi becomes satisfied. But one thing, although I said it is true that devotee becomes happy from the beginning, at the same time, devotee gets, great dissatisfaction. That also continues. Why? Although I said that devotee from the beginning he experiences happiness in spiritual life, at the same time he experiences great dissatisfaction also.
attachment चले जा रहा है.
Is it like that? Is he suffering because of that?
By seeing others not taking,
Saurabh bro?
by seeing others, they are not Krishna conscious. And
There is one very good answer. Out of compassion for others, his suffering comes. That is one good answer. I was not thinking about this, but that is very wonderful answer also. Yogi is more or less selfish. So if he is happy, he is happy and happy. That's it. Satisfied with that. Prayena deva munayo so vibhukti kama maunam charanti vijarena parartha nishtha. Naitan vihaya krupana vimuksha eko nanyas todasya sharanam bhamato anupashye. Prahlad Maharaj says that there are so many yogis and monis, they are happy in doing their own meditation. But he said, I am not happy seeing these people suffering here. So that is one type of unhappiness. Any other? So very good answer.
That happiness is so much, so he's not able to whatever happiness is
Tolerate.
not tolerate, but he's not able to experience that. So that's why it's
Okay, he's not able to experience full happiness. Okay. Any other?
Prabhuji, sometimes when we start practice, we also we felt like how difficult for us it is, like how many anarthas we have to handle. That also sometimes dissatisfied us.
Yeah.
Like how many
This
things we
also,
have to be.
the devotee realizes his own anarthas. So on one side he is unhappy, another side, and one side he is happy that I am got shelter of Krishna, another side he is unhappy that I have so many anarthas also. So it comes together. Any other?
Prabhuji, there is one thing. In starting, we get some test for, we can say, in devotional life. Krishna gives when we start our devotional life. Then when the purification starts, we feel कि अरे वो कहाँ गया मतलब test where it is. So we aspire in that aspiration. Dissatisfaction comes. So yeah, like that.
Okay, where is that taste, which I got, on the early days. So that hankering develops for that same taste. Fine. That is also one of the answers.
Roji, I'm not sure, but like at the very beginning, the false ego is means hampered in Bhakti Yogi. Means firstly only he has to accept Krishna's supremacy, whereas in Ashtanga Yogi, there might be aspiration that you'll get some siddhis or you may become God or something. So false ego is hampered from the beginning itself.
Okay. As such, we are not talking about negative unhappiness. That is due to conditioning. Hmm. There is a positive unhappiness comes, like Saurabh told that by seeing others suffering, or who else told? Pratik Prabhu also told that by seeing our own anartha. These are positive unhappiness, not that that unhappiness of getting ego hampered or ego page. That is not a positive unhappiness. That is a negative unhappiness only.
Things that why I got this happiness so late.
Okay, he is thinking, lamenting, "Arey, bhakti mein pehle kyun nahi aaya? I have wasted so much of my life." This is also positive unhappiness. What else? Devotee is never satisfied in his service to Krishna. He always feels that I could do much better service. What is this? I am not serving Krishna to the best of my ability. I could always do. And this unhappiness, to tell you a good whatever a news, you take it good or bad, that unhappiness will continue till end of your life. That I have not served Krishna enough. So devotee is never satisfied. He never feels satisfied that मैंने बहुत अच्छा जप किया. If after japa you feel that I am satisfied that मैंने बहुत अच्छा जप किया आज, that means you are in Maya. So devotee always feels, oh, perfect japa नहीं हुआ फिर भी आज. I am not so satisfied. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt that unhappiness, like that. That I am not, I don't have any love for Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt. Radharani also feels that I have no love for Krishna. So, so as some of you are giving examples of some negative unhappiness, that is because of our conditioning, that is because of our, material attachments, that is because of our false ego. So that's a negative unhappiness. But we are talking about here that along the yogi, so that yogi also has to experience because his attachments are cut, his false ego is hampered, he's also, his sense gratification is, beaten, his mind is beaten. So that unhappiness, negative unhappiness, even yogi also experiences, and a devotee also experiences. A struggling devotee, conditions, the devotee who is like trying to practice Krishna consciousness in a new stage, he also experiences that. But even the yogi, he doesn't have got that ecstasy of transcendental unhappiness. You understand the words? It is the ecstasy of transcendental unhappiness. That term nobody can understand. That is only meant in devotional service. That also very advanced stage of devotional service. What is that? That one understands. So actually that is not experienced generally in neophyte stage also. That's why neophyte, his unhappiness is this only. अरे मेरा marks कम हो गया, अरे मेरा health खराब हो गया, अरे मेरा parents चिल्ला रहे. This is the way of neophyte's unhappiness. But a devotee, as he becomes mature in bhakti, what is his unhappiness? As Saurabh Prabhu was very nicely mentioning, that others are suffering. That is a unhappiness of a mature devotee. Neophyte's unhappiness is different. He is always thinking, "Arey, mera ye nahi, mera time manage nahi ho raha hai." This is standard question, right? Time manage nahi hota hai, Prabhuji. Yeah, mera ye nahi ho raha hai, mera wo nahi ho raha hai. So it's all neophyte tendency. But the more mature unhappiness comes here, at least it starts dawning. So how do we understand the devotee has started becoming mature in his bhakti? This transcendental ecstasy of unhappiness starts sprouting at least. One may not be at the stage of Prahlad Maharaj. One may not be on the stage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Gopis or Radharani, but it starts sprouting. What is that sprouting? He feels, अरे मैंने chanting अच्छा किया नहीं आज. Alas, alas, mind बहुत wonder हो रहा था chanting में. अभी कुछ तो करना चाहिए. हाँ, that means that devotee has started becoming mature now. Or he's crying, alas, I have such anarthas in my heart. How will I get rid of these anarthas? This is transcendental unhappiness. Oh, that service I could have done much better way. I did not do it perfectly. I could have done much better way. Oh, I should not have behaved that way with that devotee. I am sorry, I did not behave properly with that devotee. So this is called as transcendental unhappiness. And that itself is ecstasy. That itself is ecstasy for devotional service. And that treasure is not available for anybody except for a devotee. Even for neophyte devotee, that treasure is not available. That treasure is available only for a mature devotee. Only. But mature devotee doesn't mean that he has to continue practicing for 20 years. Sometimes I see some devotees are so sincere that within Arjun group also they start experiencing this transcendental unhappiness also. Devotees experience. I have talked with so many devotees like that in our voice also. They start manifesting these symptoms of transcendental unhappiness. And the goal of life is to experience that transcendental unhappiness of separation from Krishna. So if you think that by going to Golok Vrindavan you'll be very happy, forget it. That's not the way. You are not going to be happy, sir. You are going to experience something better than happiness. What is that? Transcendental unhappiness. Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. What is the mood of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya? Serving Krishna in separation. And that is so, it's such a bliss. It's such an intense experience that even Lord Ram, the main purpose of Lord Ram's appearing in this world was to experience this. That's why he arranged Sita to be sent back 2-3 times. Let us experience a separation. They wanted to experience separation. So that is the thing which is available only for a devotee. Anyway, so to conclude with, so in this Brahma Bhuta stage, so one experiences, so for a yogi, he experiences transcendental happiness. And in that stage, one becomes free from material contamination. One gradually experiences these things actually. So there will gradually one will experience that one has become free from material contamination. Have you experienced it? You have become little free from material contamination. Both things are going on again here, right? There is some experience of relief also. अरे पहले कैसा था मैं? I used to run after girls. I used to hanker after so many things. But now there is relief to some extent. But although simultaneously there is some unhappiness. Oh, still some lust is there, but still the anger is there. Previously I was like arrogant like anything. So now I am little not so arrogant, but still some arrogance is there. So devotee experiences both of these things. But understand that both of these things are on a transcendental platform. They are not on a mundane platform. So Bhaktim Labhate Param. And in this way one becomes situated in transcendental service of the Lord. So that's the qualification for steadiness in service of the Lord. What is that qualification? One should be able to experience that relief from the unwanted habits, at the same time that transcendental unhappiness in terms of not being able to serve the Lord to the best of one's capacity. So, and in this way, as a devotee, he fixes his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, and one becomes free from the material modes. That already happens. Okay, so we can stop here for today. Next week we'll continue with 28 words about realizations of super soul and what are the visions of perfect yogi. That we'll be discussing next week. Thank you very much. Yes, bro.
It may be a little basic question that I just wanted to ask again. Before going back to Godhead, do we have to experience that Nayanam Galadashtu Dharya, these all feelings of ecstasies. We should experience. Then only we are like we can understand. We are at the stage of going back home, back to Godhead.
Oh, this is a stage even one may experience even much before going back to God. Because it is a hankering. When my body, when my Nayanam Galadashtu Dhara, are you talking about a verse or the thing itself? Because verse is talking about hankering. When my eyes will be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly, and when my body will falter, when my voice will falter, when my body will shear. That is a hankering for that. It is aspiration. So that is experienced much before going back to God. So are you talking about this or actually this thing that Nayanam Galadashtu Dharaya, Vadanam Galadashtu?
No, I just wanted to understand like basic eligibility, whether we should experience this or we should.
First is that we should not artificially imitate it.
That
will become surgery. So that is the first thing Prabhupada would answer. Don't do it artificially. Actually, yeah, of course, because it is written in Bhagavatam, Tadashmasaram Hridayam Batedam. That heart is steel framed, which do not, when it hears the holy names, it does not change. It does not, the tears do not come from the eyes, and the voice does not falter, and the symptoms of ecstasy do not manifest. That means such a person's heart is steel framed. So how can one go with steel frame heart to Golok Vrindavan? Krishna doesn't steal the steel, right? Krishna doesn't steal the steel. Krishna steals butter. So heart has to become soft like butter, not hard like steel. So one has to experience that. Certainly the heart has to become very soft. So that is very true, and that is experienced generally during the stage of Ruchi and little later stages of Ruchi up to Bhava stage. That is experience. So one can go back to God only when one has prema, right? Before prema, how can one go back to God? So, but before prema comes Bhava. Before Bhava comes Ruchi, Asakti, Ruchi, jo bhi hai. So it is essential, but we should not artificially bring it. So how do we get that? So that is spontaneous devotional service. For spontaneous devotional service, we have to obtain Krupa of Mahats, great souls. From Vaidhi, so currently we should focus on Vaidhi. So when one practices our Vaidhi Bhakti with a longing to obtain Krishna, and one also pleases the Vaishnavas. Actually, one class I was hearing of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, he was telling, unless and until we please Vaishnavas, Krishna will never manifest in his holy names. Without humility and pleasure of Vaishnavas, Krishna will not manifest in holy names. So when we do these things, when we please Vaishnavas, when we develop this humility, by that, Krishna will manifest in the holy names, and by that, when Krishna actually manifests in the holy names, then those symptoms will automatically come. So we'll be upgraded from Vaidhi Bhakti to Raganuga Bhakti. That will happen. This answers your question, Pratik?
Yes, Prabhuji. One more question I have. Can I ask Prabhuji?
Yeah, so basically devotees, so we are done with. If you want, you may carry on. Those who want, they can continue. They can continue or they can be here. Means we are done with our today's this thing. Yes, Pratik.
Prabhuji, one thing is that when we hear or when we read such qualities of Vaishnavas or these things and so many different things about the qualities of Vaishnava, and but when we see around devotees, they are not at that stage. So we start giving a comparison to them, and we start seeing in that mode and become offensive. So I just wanted to become like by knowing all these things, by knowing all these stages, and by knowing everything in detail and reading, how to remain at time humble and being more practical with that knowledge, not become more theoretical with that knowledge and start comparing the around nearby devotees with that level of bhakti.
Actually, we have to learn to mind our own business. That's very important. You know, we want to go back to Godhead, or we want others to go back to. Of course, we want others also to go back to Godhead. But you know, if we keep on judging others, so this knowledge, what we are learning, is not for judging others. You know, it is meant for our own application. So devotee, he is strict with himself, lenient with others, not opposite. Lenient with himself and strict with others. That's not good. So this entire thing we are learning is not to make pass judgments on others, not to judge who is there, you know, who is having that symptoms of ecstasy, not like that. It is meant for judging ourselves and improving ourselves, and that only then only